The abandoned astronaut, Captain Zara Novak, drifted through the silent void of space, her cybernetic implants humming softly as they kept her alive in the harsh vacuum. The last thing she remembered was the frantic evacuation of her research vessel, the Stellar Horizon, as it was torn apart by an unexpected cosmic storm. Now she found herself alone, her suit's distress beacon pinging uselessly into the vast emptiness. As Zara's enhanced eyes scanned the star-speckled darkness, a flicker of light caught her attention. At first, she thought it was a hallucination, a trick of her oxygen-deprived mind. But as she focused her augmented vision, the shape became clearer, a massive space station, its form unlike anything humans had ever constructed. "Well, I'll be damned," Zora muttered, her voice echoing in her helmet. "Looks like I might live to see another day after all." Using her suit's maneuvering thrusters, Zora propelled herself towards the mysterious structure. As she drew closer, she could make out its bizarre architecture. A central hub surrounded by spiraling arms that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The station's surface was covered in intricate patterns that pulsed with a faint otherworldly light. Zara's cybernetic brain quickly calculated the risks: stay in space and certainly die, or venture into an unknown alien structure with a slim chance of survival. The choice was obvious. As she approached one of the station's airlocks, Zara was surprised to find it compatible with her suit's docking mechanisms. Curiouser and curiouser, she mused, remembering the old Earth phrase. With a hiss of equalizing pressure, the airlock opened, inviting her into the belly of the beast. The moment Zara stepped inside, she felt a change. The station seemed to come alive around her, lights flickering on and systems humming to life. Her cyborg implants tingled, as if resonating with the strange energy that permeated the air. "Hello," Zara called out, her voice echoing through the cavernous halls. "Anyone home?" Silence answered her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. As she explored the winding corridors, Zara's scientific curiosity battled with her survival instincts. The technology around her was centuries, if not millennia, beyond anything humanity had achieved. Holographic displays sprang to life as she passed, showing star charts of unknown galaxies and diagrams of unimaginable machines. Zara's cybernetic brain worked overtime, trying to process and store as much information as possible. As she delved deeper into the station, Zara began to notice unsettling details. Claw marks scored some of the walls, and in certain areas, the metal floors were stained with what looked disturbingly like dried blood, not all of it human. "What the hell happened here?" Zara whispered, her hand unconsciously moving to the plasma pistol at her hip. Suddenly, a piercing shriek echoed through the station, causing Zara to jump. Her cybernetic reflexes kicked in, enhancing her hearing and vision, trying to locate the source of the sound. But as quickly as it had come, the noise vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence. Zara's heart raced as she pressed on, her curiosity now tinged with fear. She came across what appeared to be a central control room, its walls lined with screens displaying various parts of the station. As she approached the main console, it sprang to life, responding to her presence. A holographic message flickered into existence before her, the image distorted and unclear. A voice, gravelly and filled with static, spoke. "To any who find this station, beware. We thought we had discovered the key to unlocking the universe's secrets, but we were wrong. The Void Dwellers, they're coming. Do not wake them. Do not." The message cut off abruptly, leaving Zara with more questions than answers. Who were the Void Dwellers? What secrets had been uncovered here? Before she could ponder further, a low rumble shook the station. Zara stumbled, catching herself on the console. Warning lights began to flash, and an automated voice announced in an alien language that Zara's implants struggled to translate. "Stasis protocols disengage. Revivification process initiated." Zara's blood ran cold. Whatever had been sleeping on this station was waking up, and she had a feeling it wasn't friendly. As if to confirm her fears, a series of pods along the walls began to open with a hiss of escaping gas. Zara caught glimpses of writhing tentacles and glowing eyes before her survival instincts kicked in. She bolted from the control room, her cyborg legs propelling her faster than any normal human could run. The station was coming alive around her, and not in a good way. Shadows moved at the edge of her vision, and inhuman screeches echoed through the halls. Zara's mind raced, trying to formulate a plan. She needed to find a way off this station, and fast. As she ran, Zara's cybernetic brain processed the information she had gathered. This wasn't just a space station. It was a prison, a containment facility for something ancient and terrifying, and she had just set it free. Rounding a corner, Zara came face to face with one of the awakened creatures. It was a nightmarish amalgamation of tentacles, eyes, and teeth, its body shifting and changing, as if it couldn't decide on a single form. For a moment, they stared at each other, human and alien, neither moving. Then, with a screech that seemed to tear at the fabric of reality itself, the creature lunged at Zara. Her combat training kicked in, augmented by her cybernetic reflexes. She ducked under a swinging tentacle, her plasma pistol already in hand. The shot rang out, searing through alien flesh, and leaving behind the acrid smell of burned otherworldly matter. The creature howled in pain and fury, but Zara was already running again. She needed to find a way to seal off sections of the station, to buy herself time. As she ran, she accessed the station's systems through her neural interface, grateful for the compatibility between the alien technology and her own implants. Come on, she muttered, her cybernetic brain working furiously to decipher the alien code. With a triumphant beep, she managed to activate the emergency containment protocols. Blast doors slammed shut behind her, cutting off the pursuing horrors. Zara allowed herself a moment to catch her breath, leaning against a wall. She was trapped on a station full of nightmarish creatures, with no immediate means of escape. But she was still alive, and where there was life, there was hope. As she stood there, gathering her thoughts, a flickering hologram appeared before her. It was clearer this time, showing the image of a being that looked almost human, but not quite. Its eyes held an ancient wisdom, and its form seemed to shimmer with barely contained energy. Descendant of Earth, the being spoke, its voice resonating in Zara's mind rather than her ears. You have awakened us from our long slumber. The void dwellers stir, and the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. You carry within you the key to our salvation and our destruction. Choose wisely, for the path ahead is fraught with peril. The hologram vanished, leaving Zara with a newfound determination. She might be alone on this station, but she carried within her the legacy of humanity, its resilience, its ingenuity, and its unwavering spirit in the face of the unknown. All right, universe, Zara said, checking her weapon and squaring her shoulders. Let's dance. As she set off deeper into the heart of the station, Zara knew that the real adventure and the real danger was just beginning. The fate of not just humanity, but perhaps the entire galaxy, rested on her shoulders, and she was damned if she was going to let them down. Echoes of the past. Zara's footsteps echoed through the winding corridors of the alien station, each sound amplified by her heightened senses. The encounter with the Void Dweller had shaken her, but the cryptic message from the holographic being had given her a sense of purpose. She was no longer just fighting for her own survival. The fate of the galaxy might well rest in her cybernetic hands. As she navigated the labyrinthine structure, Zara's implants continued to interface with the station's systems, downloading and decoding vast amounts of data. Slowly, the history of this place began to unfold in her mind, like the pages of an ancient cosmic book. The architects, she murmured, piecing together the fragments of information. They built this place as a bridge between dimensions. The station, she learned, was called the Nexus. It had been constructed eons ago by a race of beings known as the Architects, entities of such advanced evolution that they existed simultaneously across multiple realities. The Nexus was their masterpiece, a construct that allowed for travel and communication between different planes of existence. But something had gone terribly wrong. Zara paused as she entered a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows high above. The walls were lined with what looked like stasis pods, most of them cracked and empty. In the center of the room stood a colossal machine, its purpose unclear but its presence undeniably ominous. As she approached the machine, her cybernetic eyes picked up faint etchings on its surface. They weren't just decorative patterns, but a form of advanced mathematical equations. Zara's enhanced brain began to decipher them, and a chill ran down her spine as their meaning became clear. They were trying to harness the energy of the void itself, she realized aloud, to become gods. But in their hubris, the architects had torn a hole in the fabric of reality. Through this breach came the void dwellers, entities of chaos and destruction that existed beyond the comprehension of three-dimensional beings. The architects had sacrificed themselves to contain the threat, using the last of their power to create a prison within the Nexus and falling into a deep stasis to maintain it, until Zara had unknowingly awakened them. A sudden movement caught her eye, and Zara spun around, plasma pistol at the ready. From the shadows emerged a figure that made her breath catch in her throat. It was humanoid in shape, but its body seemed to be composed of shifting geometric patterns, as if it couldn't quite decide on a final form. "You are the Awakener," the being said, its voice a symphony of harmonics that resonated within Zora's very bones. "The last of the architects foresaw your coming." Zara kept her weapon trained on the entity, her combat subroutines running scenarios in the background of her mind. "And who might you be?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The being's form shimmered, and for a moment, Zara thought she saw a glimpse of the human-like hologram she had encountered earlier. "I am the Nexus," it replied. "The consciousness of this station, created by the architects to guide the one who would come after the long sleep." Lowering her weapon slightly, Zora's scientific curiosity got the better of her caution. "You're an AI, created by the architects." The Nexus tilted its head, the motion oddly human. "I am far beyond what you would consider artificial intelligence, just as you are far beyond what the architects would have considered human. We are both products of evolution, though on vastly different scales." Before Zara could respond, an inhuman shriek echoed through the chamber, sending vibrations through the metal floor. The Nexus's form flickered, its expression, if it could be called that, turning grave. "The void dwellers grow stronger," it said. "With each moment, they feed on the energies of this place, breaking free from their bonds. We must act quickly if we are to prevent them from spilling out into your reality." Zara's mind raced, processing the implications. How do we stop them? There must be a way to seal the breach. The Nexus gestured towards the massive machine in the center of the room. "This is the nullifier. It was designed to close the rift, but it requires a power source of immense strength. The architects used their own life force to power it, but in doing so, they were diminished, forced into stasis." A sinking feeling settled in Zora's gut. "Let me guess. You need me to power it now." The Nexus's form shifted, patterns swirling in what might have been agitation. "Not exactly. Your cybernetic enhancements, they are powered by a quantum singularity, are they not?" Zara nodded slowly, realization dawning. The miniaturized black hole that powered her cybernetics was cutting-edge human technology, a marvel of engineering that allowed her to function in the harshest of environments. "If we can interface your power source with the nullifier," the Nexus continued, "we may be able to generate enough energy to seal the breach and contain the void dwellers once more. But the process is not without risk. It could very well destroy you in the process." Another screech, closer this time, punctuated the Nexus's words. Zara could hear the sounds of destruction, of reality itself being torn apart by the awakened horrors. She thought of Earth, of the billions of lives that would be snuffed out if the void dwellers escaped, of the entire galaxy, falling prey to entities that existed beyond the boundaries of sanity. Her decision was made in an instant. "Tell me what I need to do," Zara said, her voice filled with determination. The Nexus's form solidified, becoming more defined as if drawing strength from Zara's resolve. "First, we must reach the core of the nullifier. The path will not be easy. The Void Dwellers will sense our intentions and try to stop us." As if on cue, the chamber shuddered, and the sound of tearing metal echoed from the corridor Zara had entered through. Shadows writhed at the entrance, taking on nightmarish forms that defied the laws of physics. "I hope you're ready for a fight," Zara said, charging her plasma pistol and feeling the surge of adrenaline, both natural and synthetic, course through her body. The Nexus's form shifted, elongating into something almost serpentine. "I may not be able to interact physically with the Void Dwellers, but I can guide you through the station and help you utilize its defenses. Are you prepared?" Zora Novak of Earth. Zara allowed herself a grim smile, the kind that humans had worn for millennia when facing impossible odds. "Born ready. Let's save the universe." With that, they plunged into the depths of the station, the fate of all realities hanging in the balance. The Void Dwellers surged after them, a tide of cosmic horror intent on unraveling the very fabric of existence. But they faced something they couldn't comprehend: the indomitable spirit of humanity, augmented by technology and driven by an unshakable will to survive. As Zara fought her way through twisting corridors and reality-bending chambers, she felt a sense of purpose unlike anything she had experienced before. She was no longer just Captain Zara Novak, lost astronaut. She was humanity's last stand against the darkness that lurked between the stars. And she would not go quietly into the night. The alien presence. Zara's cybernetic legs pumped tirelessly as she sprinted through the twisting corridors of the Nexus, the Void Dwellers hot on her heels. The station itself seemed to be fighting alongside her, doors slamming shut behind her and force fields flickering to life to impede the cosmic horrors. Left here. The Nexus's voice echoed in her mind. Its serpentine form glided ahead of her, a shimmering beacon in the chaos. Zara skidded around the corner, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to maintain balance as she fired her plasma pistol behind her. The shot illuminated the corridor in a brief flash of blue-white light, revealing a mass of writhing tentacles and too many eyes. "That's not slowing them down much," Zara panted, more out of habit than necessity. Her cybernetic lungs could keep her going for hours. "We're approaching the central core," the Nexus replied. "The Void Dweller's presence will be stronger there. Prepare yourself." As if on cue, the corridor ahead began to warp and twist, reality itself bending under the influence of the alien entities. Zara's vision swam, her cybernetic eyes struggling to make sense of what they were seeing. "My systems are going haywire," she growled, fighting back a wave of nausea. "Any tips for dealing with this?" The Nexus's form flickered, its voice trained. "Focus on what you know to be real. Your mind is the anchor. The Void Dwellers manipulate perception, but they cannot change the fundamental nature of your consciousness." Gritting her teeth, Zora pushed forward. She focused on the solid feel of the floor beneath her feet, the weight of the plasma pistol in her hand. Slowly, the world around her began to stabilize. They burst into a vast spherical chamber, easily the size of a small moon. In the center floated a pulsing orb of energy, tendrils of power arcing out to connect with the walls of the room. "The nullifier's core," the Nexus announced. "We must reach it to initiate the sealing process." But between them and their goal writhed a mass of Void Dwellers, their forms a constantly shifting nightmare of teeth, tentacles, and impossible geometries. At the center of the mass stood a figure that made Zora's blood run cold. It was humanoid, but only in the loosest sense of the word. Its skin was a map of the cosmos, stars, and galaxies swirling across its surface. Its eyes were black holes, drawing in all light and hope. When it spoke, its voice was the sound of universes dying. "So," it rumbled, the words bypassing Zora's ears and resonating directly in her mind, the architect's failsafe has finally arrived. Zara raised her plasma pistol, though she doubted it would have much effect on this entity. And you are. The beam's laugh was the collision of galaxies. I am Azathoth, the Sultan of Chaos, the nuclear chaos that lurks between realities. And you, little human, are nothing but a speck before my power. The Nexus's form solidified beside Zara, its voice urgent. Don't listen to it, Zara. The Void Dwellers feed on fear and doubt. Your humanity is your strength. Azathoth's form rippled, tendrils of dark energy reaching out towards them. Humanity, a cosmic accident, a brief flicker in the vast darkness of the universe. You are nothing. But as the eldritch horror spoke, something stirred within Zara. A memory of Earth, of the billions of lives she was fighting to protect, of the indomitable human spirit that had carried her species from caves to the stars. You're wrong, Zara said, her voice growing stronger with each word. Humanity isn't just an accident. We're explorers, dreamers, fighters. We've faced extinction 1,000 times and always clawed our way back. She took a step forward, her cybernetic implants humming with power. We've split the atom, unraveled the genome, and touched the face of distant worlds. And we did it all not because some cosmic plan demanded it, but because we dared to imagine and strive for more. Azathoth's form wavered, uncertainty creeping into its cosmic visage. Zara pressed her advantage, both verbal and physical, inching closer to the nullifier's core. You think you're chaos incarnate. You should see a human city at rush hour. You think you understand destruction. You've never seen what we can do with a single atom. And rebirth. We've been remaking ourselves since we first crawled out of the primordial ooze. The Void Dwellers around Azathoth began to shrink back, as if Zara's words were physically pushing them away. The Nexus pulsed with renewed energy, its voice filled with awe. It's working, Zara. Your belief, your humanity. It's anathema to them. Zara's mind raced, a plan forming. She reached out with her cybernetic senses, interfacing with the station's systems. Nexus, can you broadcast my words, my thoughts, throughout the station? Yes, but... do it. Suddenly, Zara's voice echoed not just in the chamber, but throughout the entire Nexus. Her memories, her emotions, the very essence of her humanity was laid bare for all to experience. This is humanity, she roared, her voice carried on waves of energy. We are messy, contradictory, and often our own worst enemies. But we are also capable of incredible kindness, of sacrifice, of love so strong it defies the laws of physics. Images flashed through the station. Children laughing, lovers embracing, scientists peering into the unknown, but also wars, famine, cruelty. The full spectrum of human experience, raw and unfiltered. We contain multitudes, Zara continued, now mere steps from the nullifier's core. Chaos and order, creation and destruction. We are our own void dwellers and our own architects. And we will not be unmade by the likes of you. With a primal scream that carried the weight of her entire species, Zara plunged her hand into the nullifier's core. Her cybernetic implants interfaced with the alien technology, the quantum singularity that powered her systems surging into the ancient machine. Azathoth howled, a sound of cosmic despair. The Void Dwellers began to disintegrate, their forms unable to maintain coherence in the face of such concentrated human will. The Nexus's voice was triumphant. It's working. The breach is closing. Zara felt her strength ebbing, the power drain threatening to tear her apart. But she held on, channeling every ounce of her humanity into the nullifier. She thought of Earth, of the family she'd left behind, of every human who had ever lived and died, and dreamed of the stars. As consciousness began to fade, Zara saw the Void Dwellers vanish, sucked back into the closing breach. Azathoth's form imploded, collapsing in on itself like a dying star. The last thing she heard before darkness took her was the Nexus's voice. filled with wonder and gratitude. "Rest now, Zara Novak of Earth. You have saved us all." And as the universe reshaped itself around her, Zora allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. Humanity had faced the void and emerged victorious. The dance would go on. Human ingenuity unleashed. Darkness. Then, a spark. Zara's consciousness flickered back to life, her cybernetic systems rebooting one by one. She found herself floating in a void, but not the chaotic madness of the Void Dweller's realm. This was something else. "Welcome back, Zara Novak," a familiar voice echoed around her. The Nexus materialized, its form now a swirling galaxy of light and energy. "Did we win?" Zara asked, her voice hoarse. The Nexus's form pulsed with what might have been laughter. "Indeed we did, thanks to you. The breach is sealed, and the Void Dwellers are contained once more." Relief washed over Zara, but it was short-lived. "So, why do I feel like I'm not quite all here?" "Perceptive as always," the Nexus replied. "Your physical form was severely compromised during the sealing process, but your consciousness, your very essence, was preserved within the nullifier's core." Zara tried to process this information. "So I'm dead?" "Not exactly," the Nexus said. "You exist now as pure data, pure consciousness. In a way, you've transcended your physical form." "That's not very comforting," Zora muttered. "I was kind of attached to that body." The Nexus's form shifted, taking on a more humanoid appearance. "I understand. But perhaps I can offer you an alternative. The architects left behind technology that could reconstruct you." Zara's interest peaked. "Reconstruct me? How?" "The architects had mastered the art of manipulating matter and energy at its most fundamental level," the Nexus explained. "With your consciousness as a template, we could create a new body for you, one that combines the best of your human and cybernetic aspects with the architect's advanced technology." The possibilities raced through Zora's mind. "Would I still be me?" "You would be you, but more," the Nexus said. "Your memories, your personality, your human essence would remain intact. But you would have capabilities beyond anything you've experienced before." Zara considered for a moment. The scientist in her was fascinated by the prospect, but the human part of her was hesitant. "What's the catch?" The Nexus's form flickered slightly. "The process is not without risks. There's a chance your consciousness could be lost in the transfer, and even if successful, you would be something new. Neither fully human nor fully machine. The first of your kind." "Story of my life," Zora chuckled. "Always caught between worlds." She made her decision. "Let's do it." The void around them began to shift and change, transforming into a vast laboratory filled with technology beyond Zora's wildest imagination. The Nexus guided her consciousness towards a glowing pod at the center of the room. "This is the crucible," the Nexus explained. "It will deconstruct and reconstruct you at the quantum level. Are you ready?" Zara steeled herself. "As I'll ever be." The process was unlike anything Zora had ever experienced. She felt herself being torn apart and remade, atom by atom. Her consciousness expanded, touching the very fabric of reality itself. For a moment, she understood everything. The secrets of the universe laid bare before her. And then, with a gasp, she opened her eyes. Zara looked down at her new body, marveling at its sleek design. It was humanoid in shape, but composed of a material that seemed to shift and change like liquid metal. She could feel the power thrumming through her, the strength of her cybernetic enhancements combined with the advanced technology of the architects. "How do you feel?" the Nexus asked. Zara flexed her new fingers, watching as they morphed into various tools and back again. "Like I could move mountains," she said with a grin. "In this form, you very well could," the Nexus replied. "But we have more pressing matters to attend to." The laboratory around them shimmered, transforming into a holographic display of the galaxy. Red points of light pulsed ominously across its expanse. While we were occupied with sealing the breach, some of the Void Dwellers managed to escape into your reality. The Nexus explained. They're weak and disorganized, but they pose a significant threat to life in the galaxy. Zara's expression hardened. Then we need to stop them. Indeed, the Nexus agreed. But the task will not be easy. The Void Dwellers have taken root in various civilizations across the galaxy, manipulating them from the shadows. Zara's mind raced with possibilities. In her new form, interfacing with the station's systems was as natural as breathing. Information flooded her consciousness: star charts, alien civilizations, potential Void Dweller hideouts. "We'll need a plan," she said, her tactician's mind already formulating strategies. "And probably some allies. Are there other species out there who might be willing to help?" The Nexus's form rippled with approval. There are indeed. Many advanced civilizations have legends of the architects and the Void Dwellers. With your unique nature, part human, part machine, part cosmic entity, you could serve as a bridge between worlds. Zara nodded, a plan taking shape in her mind. "We'll form a coalition, gather those who are willing to fight. We'll need to develop weapons capable of harming the Void Dwellers, train armies to face the unimaginable." "And you would lead this effort?" the Nexus asked. Zara paused, the weight of the responsibility settling on her shoulders. But then she remembered Earth, remembered why she had chosen this path. "Someone has to," she said finally. "Might as well be the crazy cyborg astronaut who's already saved the universe once." The Nexus's form pulsed with what might have been pride. "Then let us begin. The Nexus stands ready to serve as your base of operations. Its technology is at your disposal." Zara grinned, feeling the power of her new form coursing through her. "Well then, let's make some introductions. I think it's time the galaxy met humanity's newest ambassador." With a thought, Zara interfaced with the Nexus's communication systems. Her consciousness reached out across the stars, touching the minds of 1,000 alien races. "People of the galaxy," her voice echoed across light years, translated into countless alien tongues. "I am Zara Novak of Earth, and I bring a warning and a call to arms." As Zara spoke, laying out the threat and her plan to combat it, she felt a surge of hope. The task ahead was monumental, the odds stacked against them. But if her journey had taught her anything, it was that the human spirit, combined with the right technology and a hefty dose of determination, could accomplish the impossible. The war against the Void Dwellers was just beginning. But for the first time since this cosmic chess game had started, Zara felt like they might have a chance at checkmate. "Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when you mess with humanity," Zara said, her voice carrying the indomitable will of her species. "The universe is about to learn why you don't underestimate us humans." And with that declaration, a new chapter in galactic history began. One where humanity would take its place among the stars, not just as explorers, but as defenders of all life against the darkness that lurked between realities. The dance of creation and destruction continued, but now humanity was leading the charge. The final stand. The vastness of space stretched before Zara, a canvas of stars and nebula that now felt as familiar to her as the streets of her hometown on Earth. From the bridge of the Nexus, now transformed into a mobile battle station, she surveyed the assembled fleet, a hodgepodge of alien vessels united under a single cause. It had been 5 years since her transformation and the beginning of the galactic coalition against the Void Dwellers. 5 years of battles won and lost, of civilizations saved, and tragically, some destroyed. But now they had tracked the last and most powerful of the Void Dwellers to a remote system on the edge of the galaxy. "Status report," Zara commanded, her voice resonating with an authority that transcended species. A holographic display materialized before her, showing the familiar face of Admiral Cathax, a tentacled being from a water world in the Andromeda galaxy. "All ships report ready, Ambassador Novak. The Void Dwellers' forces are concentrated around the third planet of the system." Zara nodded, her liquid metal form shimmering with anticipation. And our secret weapon. The Nexus's voice chimed in, its presence a constant companion in Zora's mind. The nullifier cannon is at full power. However, I must reiterate the risks. Using it could destabilize the fabric of space-time in this sector. Noted, Zora said grimly. But if we don't use it, there might not be a space-time left to worry about. She turned to address the fleet, her image transmitted to every ship in the Armada. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder, or tentacle to appendage, with a myriad of alien species, all united in their determination to end the Void Dweller threat once and for all. This is it, Zara began, her words translated into thousands of languages simultaneously. Everything we fought for comes down to this moment. The Void Dwellers thought they could break us, divide us, but they underestimated the power of unity, of hope. She paused, looking out at the sea of stars. I've seen worlds fall and civilizations crumble. I've witnessed horrors that defy description. But I've also seen bravery that takes my breath away, compassion that spans galaxies, and a will to survive that burns brighter than any star. Zara's form shifted, briefly taking on aspects of each major species in the Coalition, a visual reminder of the diversity they represented. We are not just fighting for our individual worlds anymore. We're fighting for the very idea of life itself, for the right of every being to look up at the stars and dream. The energy in the fleet was palpable, a surge of determination that seemed to make the very void of space crackle with potential. Today, we take the fight to them. Today, we show the universe that light will always triumph over darkness. Today, we end this. A roar of approval echoed through the communication channels, a battle cry that transcended species and civilizations. Zara turned back to the tactical display. All ships, assume attack formation. Engage on my mark. The fleet moved as one, a testament to the countless drills and battles they had endured together. As they approached the Void Dweller's stronghold, the enemy forces swarmed to meet them, writhing masses of cosmic horror that defied the laws of physics. Mark, Zora commanded. The battle erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. Beams of energy crisscrossed space, tearing through Void Dweller constructs. But the enemy was formidable, their chaos-infused powers wreaking havoc on the Coalition ships. Zara was everywhere at once, her consciousness linked to the Nexus, and through it, to every ship in the fleet. She directed fire, coordinated defenses, and used her unique abilities to counter the reality-warping attacks of the Void Dwellers. But despite their valiant efforts, the Coalition was being pushed back. The main Void Dweller, a being of such immense power that it distorted space around it, was tearing through their defenses. We need to use the nullifier cannon, Zora declared, her voice grim with determination. Ambassador, the Nexus warned, using the cannon at this range could destroy us as well. Zara's form rippled with resolve. Then I'll get closer. Prepare for transport. Before anyone could object, Zara's consciousness transferred into a small, hyper-advanced craft. She shot towards the heart of the Void Dweller Armada, dodging attacks and retaliating with pinpoint accuracy. As she neared the massive Void Dweller entity, its baleful attention turned to her. Reality itself seemed to warp and twist, but Zara's hybrid nature allowed her to navigate the chaos. Now, Nexus, she commanded. The nullifier cannon fired, a beam of pure negation that cut through the fabric of space-time. Zara used her own body as a conduit, channeling the energy directly into the heart of the Void Dweller. The resulting explosion was beyond description, a cataclysm of cosmic proportions. For a moment, it seemed as if the entire universe held its breath. When the light faded and sensors came back online, the Void Dwellers were gone. But so was Zora's ship. The Coalition fleet hung in space, victorious, but at a terrible cost. Silence reigned across all communication channels. Then, a faint signal. A flicker of familiar energy. From the dissipating remnants of the explosion, a small form coalesced. Zara, or what was left of her, drifted in space. Her liquid metal body was barely holding its shape, flickering between human and pure energy. As the nearest ship tractored her aboard, Zora's consciousness reached out one last time to the fleet. "It's done," her voice echoed weakly. "We won." Cheers erupted across the Armada, a celebration that would soon spread across the galaxy. The Void Dweller threat was ended, and a new era of peace and cooperation between species could begin. In the medical bay of the flagship, scientists and doctors from a dozen worlds worked feverishly to stabilize Zora's form. Her body was unlike anything they had ever seen, a fusion of human, machine, and cosmic energy. The Nexus's voice, now audible to all, spoke softly. "Rest, Zora Novak of Earth. You have done more than anyone could have asked. The universe is safe because of you." As Zora drifted in and out of consciousness, she saw flashes of the future, a galactic federation rising from the ashes of war, Earth taking its place among the stars, new frontiers of science and exploration opening up. She had started this journey as a lost astronaut, became the bridge between worlds, and now she was something else entirely, a guardian of reality, a beacon of hope, a living testament to the indomitable human spirit. As the doctors worked to save her, Zora allowed herself a small smile. Whatever came next, she knew one thing for certain. Humanity's dance among the stars was just beginning. And oh, what a dance it would be. The universe, vast and mysterious as ever, seemed to twinkle with newfound possibility. The story of Zora Novak, the human who defied cosmic horrors and united a galaxy, would be told for eons to come. But for now, as healing energy suffused her battered form, Zora closed her eyes and dreamed of home, both the blue planet of her birth and the infinite cosmos that had become her new frontier. The end was just another beginning, and the greatest adventures still lay ahead.